divided, nothing left to subtract. Some words when spoken can't be taken back. Walks on his own with thoughts he can't help thinking. Futures above, but in the past he's slow and sinking. Caught a bolt of lightning, cursed the day he let it go. Nothing there.
Six shooting. He'll hurt you in a lot of other ways. Lots of hustle points. Here's Ray in the corner. Oh, the hammer! Justin Ray fakes the three, elevates on the baseline for a huge.
All right, folks, welcome to the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel. Right now, I'm just being solo. I have the commissioner of the Coastal Athletic Conference. I'm so used to saying Colonial, just like my whole life. So,
hey, Chris, a lot easier.
Yeah, but one of those days it's a different name. Commissioner Joey Antonio joining us. Commish, thanks for joining us this morning or this afternoon. Just talk about last night's big win between Hofstra and Towson. It was a really good, exciting game. My colleague Matt was down there and he was texting me during the game saying the atmosphere was like a playoff atmosphere. And what was it like being there, courtside?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, Chris. It's great to see you. Apologize about my background, but we're live here from Washington, D.C. We're locked into our hotel for 12 days, so appreciate you understanding that I'm with the little kitchenette in the background, so thank you. But last night was great. Two really good basketball games. We started out with Campbell and Monmouth, and that was certainly an exciting game. Monmouth moving on to the championship, and then finished up with the nightcap. Towson and Hofstra went to overtime. Both teams had opportunities to win the game at different times, and you knew it was likely going to come down to some type of magical moment. Hit that shot, obviously the bank shot from, I don't know where it was, 35, 37 feet. Pretty special moment for Hofstra and for him.
Yeah. So tonight is the battle between Long Island and Jersey Shore. Yeah, because I'm from Long Island, so I know all about Hampstead, New York, and Hofstra University. And the people down in the Jersey Shore. It's pretty good for Monmouth, who basically been in this league for 4 years, and they used to be good in the I think they were in the Northeast Conference for a while.
You know, they've been a really great addition. First of all of our teams that we've brought in have been really great additions. Monmouth has done a nice job. You know, I think there's something to be said for stability, right? I think this is King Rice's 15th year. He's had a very stable hand on the program. You know they're always going to be competitive. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you're seeing this year. They have some really high energy guys. They play up tempo, and they're going to give it everything they have tonight. I do know that. It's going to be a great ball game.
Yeah. I didn't know the Mama's coach used to be the coach. I guess Michael Jordan called him, because I was listening to the post game last night that Michael Jordan knows him. So I was doing some research. I guess he was with North Carolina for a while, and then he had a problem.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if there was a problem. I mean,
yeah.
King Rice played basketball at North Carolina.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm sure that there is a relationship between him and Michael Jordan. There was a question in the press conference last night. King really didn't respond to the question specifically about Michael Jordan. But, you know, I mean, whenever you're in one of those larger programs with great alumni, a lot of times when you're a player there, you get to know some of the star alumni. So I'm sure King at least has a relationship with them in some capacity.
Right. I think that's pretty cool. You know, even Michael watching the game, you know, that's pretty good. You know, he's doing such a fantastic job with NASCAR right now. So it's like he has time to, you know, watch the CAA. So that's really good. You know, good for Michael.
No doubt.
Yeah. So let's talk about the tournament. This is what, the 5th year down in DC?
Yes. I've lost count myself.
I lost count too. It seems like every year is DC. So
we had the COVID break. But, you know, we've been really happy. You know, it's, again, we always talk about this. It's a central location for the conference. Mm-hmm. And what I really like about the arena is it's a basketball-centric arena, right? It's an arena that hosts a WNBA team as well as a G League team as part of the NBA structure. And it provides us an opportunity to present a great event for our fans, mm-hmm. for our coaches, and most importantly, a great atmosphere for our student athletes. We've been happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's great location. I saw some people on Twitter last night. I was reading that they wish it was in Baltimore or Richmond, but I remember it was in Richmond back in the day, you know, and it was pretty cool because I spent some of my birthdays in Richmond, and I just remember that old arena they had down there. And I guess the Richmond Coliseum is still there, but I just remember going in there watching these games, and it's so crispy old, and you know, that's what this, you know, the Colonial or the Coastal is all about.
Yeah, you know, we're very fortunate to have a great tradition, and we've kind of established a little bit of a new tradition here in DC. Again, I think it's been a great opportunity for our member institutions. We appreciate the folks at Events DC and their help in assisting us in running a great event. I can't say enough great things about the staff at the CAA and the time and effort and energy that everyone puts in to making sure that for our membership, this is our signature event. Not only on the men's side, but we have the women's tournament that'll start on Wednesday, start tomorrow. And we're certainly excited about that as well.
No? Absolutely not.
Why?
I'm telling you till you do.
No, I'm telling you.
No way I'm telling you.
All right, folks, welcome. Back here. That was the commissioner of the CAA, Joe Antonio, joining me early this morning.
Yes. Yeah.
The big game coming up down in DC. Matt is on his way down there between Hofstra and Monmouth. It's the Battle of Long Island versus the Jersey Shore.
Well, I guess if I remember when King Rice was at North Carolina. So if I had, and it's like, you know, if I had to choose a game to pull for tonight, I would have to pull for Monmouth after what Hofstra did to Towson last night. And it was like, when I heard about it, Chris, I was like, dang.
Yeah. It's a tough loss for Pat last night, you know. Yeah, the refs didn't really help him that much anyway. If you're watching the game.
No.
Yeah.
But Chris, I have a question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Have you been keeping up with the World Baseball Classic?
A little bit here and there, and I
Well,
don't have. Yeah.
To let everyone know, I've been watching all the USA games, and last night, USA led by the sensational pitching of Paul Skeens with 6 strikeouts. We beat Mexico for the first time in 20 years,
Really?
5-3 over in Houston at Dakin Park, which now improves our record to 3-0, and we can be 4-0 if we beat Italy at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central on FS1. So, to give you people some, I actually have the starting lineup for Team USA tonight. Leading off for Team USA is shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. from the Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
Starting second, batting second is third baseman from the Baltimore Orioles, Gunnar Henderson. Batting third, right fielder from the New York Yankees is Aaron Judge. The DH is Kyle Schwarber from the Philadelphia Phillies. Smith is our catcher tonight. Left fielder and our left fielder tonight and batting sixth is Roman Anthony from the Boston Red Sox. First baseman tonight from the Arizona Diamondbacks is Paul Goldschmidt.
Okay.
Our second baseman batting eighth is Ernie Clement, and our starting center fielder and batting ninth is Chicago Cubs star Pete Crow Armstrong, and on the mound for us tonight is Nolan McLean.
Just one of the good young guns of the New York Mets pitching tonight.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, So last night
I do have to say something. I'm sorry, folks. I don't want you to be offended, but David Wright is Captain America, not Aaron Judge. Sorry.
Well, he's not on the USA team.
I know, but the original
I know,
name,
Wright.
I
know, Chris. I know, Chris. But it's like,
yeah.
But still.
I know. Aaron Judge is a good hitter. Don't get me wrong. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a good hitter. And the Yankees are happy to have him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But when you like, it's like I get a little upset when I hear people call Bryce Harper the kid.
He's not a kid.
Yeah, but he used that name when he first came up. Oh, here's the kid batting up. And I'm like, excuse me, that's Gary Carter's nickname. The kid. And I'm sorry, people have nicknames. You leave them alone.
Well, and it's called. I don't know if you. Oh yeah. I'm assuming you know what Ken Griffey Jr. is doing now since he's not playing.
Yeah, he's a photographer. It's pretty cool. Him and
he's taking pictures for Getty Images at the World.
Yeah.
Baseball.
And what's his name? Randy Johnson does the same thing.
Correct. Hey, Chris. I think it's time to hoop it up.
Yes. Speaking of the the college tournaments for basketball, real quick, SMU has a 74-55 lead over the Fighting Dan Torres. Speaking of Dan, is there.
And Dan is there in Charlotte.
Yes. Sorry, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, Chris, can I bring in our next guest?
And real quick, before we bring him in, the first game in the ACC, Pittsburgh beat Stanford by a buzzer beater. So Pitt moves on. So yeah, bring in this next guest.
Well, folks, it's March Madness time, and the SEC tournament gets rocking and rolling over at the fabulous Bridgestone Arena.
You gotta love it.
Yes. And you got teams like Florida, who's number 1 seed, has a shot to cut down the nets. Alabama's number 2 seed. So to get us rocking and rolling with the SEC, let's bring in our good friend from Locked On SEC, Chris Gordy, is joining us tonight. Chris, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And, we know Florida's the number 1 seed in that tournament, and obviously they have a shot to cut down the nets in April. So who are some other teams we need to keep an eye on in Nashville this week?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple teams that are kind of fighting still, I think, for positioning. I think, no team bigger than Auburn. I think, for some reason, Joe Lunardi's been bullish on them. He's still kept, putting them in despite all these losses the last couple of weeks. But I do think they have to win at least a couple. I mean, I just don't think that, with all the other teams they're battling for, the last 4 in or whatever, I think Auburn has to win a couple of games to punch their ticket. Yes, they have some nice resume wins, but they got a lot of losses. And I think I saw the stat that no 16-loss team has made the postseason before. You've had a couple of 15-loss SEC teams before, but never a 16-loss team. So I don't know. We'll see. As much as Bruce Pearl jockeying on the national stage for his son Stephen Pearl, I don't think it's going to help. But yeah, I mean, I think Georgia still, would be nice to get a couple of wins and kind of solidify their spot. I think Texas really needs to, get a win and solidify their place in, because, they were on a 5-game win streak a couple weeks ago and then started losing a couple games down the stretch. So I think Texas has some work to do. Kentucky doesn't need a win because they're in, but gosh, they've stumbled here down the stretch. And Mark Pope's squad, they, if anything, just get a little confidence going, and they'll play LSU tomorrow, who's terrible. So they should at least get that win tomorrow. But outside of that, I think the SEC is an 11 bid, conference. I'm sorry, 10 bid conference. Could get 11 if Auburn pulls off a miracle.
Yeah, I don't think Auburn's getting in. I could easily see the SEC getting 10 teams. I mean, you mentioned Auburn, and it's like, I mean, I don't have if I were a bracketologist, I wouldn't have Auburn in. I mean, yeah, they got work to do, but you mentioned the losses, Chris, and that's going to come back to haunt you at one point, and I think it's going to with Stephen Pearl on the Plains in Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, I think 3 of their last 4 losses are against 3 teams that aren't even postseason bound. Oklahoma, Mississippi State. I mean, so to me, look, the committee never says it, but I feel like if you're playing great basketball down the stretch of the season, you're going to get a little bit of a lift, a little bit of an edge. They don't like teams that come into the tournament having lost 5 of 6 or whatever. They like to give, elevate some of those teams that come in red hot.
Yeah. Well, I think the Gators are still the champs, and you got to knock them off, no matter what. They're still the national champs from last year, and and they have to go through a really tough SEC schedule and a tournament that basically starts tomorrow. It's like a gauntlet, pretty much. They got to start. They're not going to play until Thursday or Friday, or maybe
it's Friday.
Friday. So they have like a couple of days. But for Chris, when somebody like that team is off for a couple of days, they get a little rusty, because they're not used to being off for like 4 or 5 days, and now they have to get themselves, revved up, because they play, when they're in the regular season, they play a Saturday, then they play a Tuesday, and then they play a Friday sometimes. So they're all in this rhythm. But if you take a break, you get yourself really complacent sometimes, and Florida might have a little issue on Friday, but I think the second half they'll pull it out.
Yeah, I think it all kind of, I think there's something to what do you have to play for, if you have, something to play for here. I don't think, other than continuing this 11-game win streak that Florida's on. I mean, okay, can you extend this win streak? That'd be great. But I think they know. I mean, the committee bumped them up to a 1 seed this past week, and so probably win a game would help to solidify that. I don't think they need to go to the championship or win the SEC championship. But that said, they're that good. I mean, it's a different team from last year. There's no Walter Clayton Jr., but they are physical, man. They beat the hell out of you. And this, before their 11th win over the weekend on that 10-game win streak they were on, they were beating opponents by an average, I think it was like 23 points per game over that 10-game win streak. I mean, it's just absolutely stupid. And that's an SEC play. It's conference play where typically, you're not blowing out a ton of opponents every night you're out there. And that's what Florida's been doing down on this stretch. So, I don't know, until somebody steps up and proves themselves worthy, we'll see. I do think Alabama's very good. I think Arkansas is very good. I think those are probably the 2 other teams that have the best chance to get to a Final Four this year. Nate Oates has been an outstanding coach, and what he's done there at Alabama, taking them far every year, feels like. And then a rejuvenated John Calipari at Arkansas that, things have gotten stale those last few years at Kentucky. A lot of first-round exits. And, a lot of people were wondering, did he just check out? Well, in comes some Tyson chicken money to bring him over to Arkansas. And he gets reinvigorated, and they go to Sweet 16 last year. And now they've got as good a team as he has had. Darius Acuff is an incredible player to watch. I think he's a lock for SEC Freshman of the Year. And I know some people, I think Cal was saying, why not National Player of the Year? I mean, this kid has been incredible. Some of the numbers, like when you combine points and stats in conference play, I mean, it's I saw some track he was on. The last person to do that was Pete Maravich. I mean, it's insane the numbers that he's been putting up in the company he's in. And look no further than Sean Miller, the Texas coach, just a week ago, saying in his post game, "Look, guys, my 36 years of coaching, I don't think I've seen a better point guard scorer than that guy." And he said, "I don't know, they're talking about the Kansas kid as the number 1 pick in the NBA draft." He goes, "You may want to rethink it because this kid is special." And Arkansas put out a graphic on all these great point guards that Calipari's had throughout his coaching tenure at Memphis, at Kentucky, and now at Arkansas. And Darius Acuff fits right into that category. Now, will he be the great NBA player that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all these other greats have become? Well, time will tell. But Acuff has been one of the most special players to watch this year in the SEC.
Yeah. Is there one team in the SEC tournament that you're thinking it might surprise people? Because they got so many teams in there, just like the Big Ten. It's like you're gonna, you have one team you think like, oh, that team might be there on Sunday at 1:00. If they go for the gauntlet.
Tennessee is always a danger. I mean, Rick Barnes is a good coach, and they've had another special freshman this year, Nate Ament, who has been outstanding. I know he's been banged up a little bit lately, but they can hit the threes. They always defend well. I mean, that's the hallmark of a Rick Barnes team. They're always going to play hard defense and defend you well. But that's the caveat on them is Tennessee's never been to a Final Four in their history, and every year we go as this year. I thought last year was a great chance for them, and so Same. We'll see what the field looks like when they get there. I'd watch out for Buckyball and A&M. I mean,
that's another one I was thinking. Yeah,
they came out of the gates red hot in SEC play, and then I started to look at the schedule. And I was like, okay, they're playing some of the weaker teams in the SEC. Let's see what they do when they play the tougher teams. And sure enough, that's when the L's started coming, when they were playing a lot of the tougher teams. But still a dangerous team. AG, the big man, has been awesome for them this year, and so A&M's one to watch. And then the last one is just, Kentucky's the wild card, man. I mean, Otega Oweh and the style that Mark Pope wants to play, when they get running and Chandler and those guys are knocking down threes, they can play with anybody in the country. It's just they are so inconsistent, and they'll go through offensive scoring droughts where they get lazy on the defensive end. So it's like you miss the three and you're frustrated with yourself that you missed the three, and then you miss the guy in transition, and it's like a 6-point swing that quick. And that's what we see from Kentucky all year. And so, but again, they've got the weapons, they got the tools. They could play with anybody in the country if they're on their game.
Oh, right. Yeah. I will say this, Chris. Kentucky plays LSU on Wednesday, and everyone wants to know down in Baton Rouge, is Matt McMahon's job safe after the year that he's had this year? So my question to you is, we know how good of a university LSU is in other sports, but why can't they get the job done in men's basketball?
Yeah, I mean, they've had runs. I mean, everybody will remember Dale Brown from the 80s, and obviously, brought Shaq in and Chris Jackson and all some great, some great players. And even before that, you had Bob Pettit and, great history of basketball at LSU. But Dale Brown took them on a ton of Final Four runs. When I was in school, the 06 team will always be memorable. John Brady taking them to the Final Four with Glenn Big Baby Davis and Tyrus Thomas and that whole crew. But there's been few and far between. Now, it seemed like they were onto something when Will Wade was there, getting them to the tournament and starting to build something. And then, lo and behold, FBI wiretaps. He was paying players. Oh, my God, the worst thing ever now, right? I mean, it's legal now. But I'll tell you guys this. There are a lot of big decision makers at LSU who still like Will Wade a lot and would love to have Will Wade back there. And, I know he's 1 year in at NC State, but if the big money people decide, hey, we will, one, pay the massive Matt McMahon buyout, two, buy out Will Wade from his contract at NC State and give him a contract at LSU, there's some folks that would love to do that. It's just a question of, as a huge pretty penny to pay on top of, you just paid a fortune to pay out Brian Kelly and bring in Lane Kiffin on the football side. So are you willing to do that on the basketball side? There's rumblings out of South Carolina that they're going to hang on to Lamont Paris because they're not really interested in paying that buyout. I think there's a very good chance we could get another year of Matt McMahon at LSU just simply because the money and the dollars don't make sense right now.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like you see this in basketball and you see this in football. These buyouts are expensive to these universities. It's like, like you said about Brian Kelly, he's set for life for a while. Same thing as Jimbo Fisher. He doesn't have to work until 2032 or something like that because of the Texas A&M stuff. So it's like, I wish I was a coach because I would be like, fire me 1 year and I get a buyout, I could be set for life.
The best job out there right now is fired football coach. I mean, you can make a ton of money sitting pretty as a fired football coach. But no, I mean, it's why I thought this whole discussion in DC on the NIL and the future of college sports was so much of a farce. It's like, one breath, we're angry that players are getting a little piece of the pie now, but also, do we want to talk about, these coaches getting massive millions of dollars to not coach anymore? I mean, it's like, hey, why don't we take some of that money and, change these contracts up a little bit? And, Tommy Tuberville said it today in one of his panels saying, you know what, maybe these coaches he goes, I didn't make 10, 11 million a year when I was coaching. It's the same game, right? I mean, why are we paying them so much these days? So, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, but, we'll see what happens.
Well, with Tommy Tuberville, he didn't have a good agent probably. I think he probably, because he was a pretty decent coach at Auburn. He kind of, went downhill when he went to Cincinnati. I just feel like Cincinnati used him as like a name to get them to come, to the football, side of things. It's a basketball school, is Cincinnati. And then, like you're saying last Friday with with President Trump and all that stuff, I think they need to do something. Like, I think, you need to sign these players to like a 2-year deal, just like a football, or a 1-year deal with an option. And then if they want to leave, they have to pay that money back. Like that Duke player got sued by Duke because Duke's like, wait a minute, dude, you just went from Tulane to us, and you want to go to Miami. What are you doing? And I think that's the way to control it, is to put an option on there as a, part of their clause. And then if they don't want to, if they can't, and it's like at the end of the season, you just go, we don't need you. We're not going to opt you. We're going to decline your option, just like baseball does. Like, see you later. Go.
Yeah. I think most people agree 1-year deals across the board right now is not working. I mean, you spend 4 years recruiting a kid out of high school. You pay him money to get him on campus as a freshman. He barely plays, and then he leaves after that. That's just, you wasted your time. So
thank you.
Something's got to change.
I agree. I totally agree with you. So Chris, I appreciate you coming on this early evening for us, because we're not used to be on with there's light outside because of the daylight savings. We've been doing our show at 7:30 at night. It's been dark out, so I'm looking out the window going, am I looking at the wrong time here? Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not used to it. Yeah, but I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you enjoy the SEC basketball tournament this weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you
All right,
having me.
man. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye. All right, that's Chris Gordy from Locked on SEC. He's from down in the Houston area, so that's
Yes,
pretty
he
cool.
is. Yes, Tyler. Yeah.
So we're gonna wait for Coach Harper to join us shortly, but we got to talk about something that happened over the weekend in Indy. This is let me bring this up here. A classic ending to a bowling tournament at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
So here it is.
Another one. Dombrowski is the U.S. Open champion. His first ever title. And it's a U.S. Open.
All right, congratulations to Patrick Dombrowski. We had him on here a couple of years ago, so congratulations to him and his first major, his first title.
Yes.
Good for a guy that's 46 years old.
And and for you folks who don't know what he likes to do when he's not competing on the PBA tour, he loves roller coasters.
I know.
When
I saw his
he loves roller coasters. It's called. He's probably gone to Kings Point, more times than Chris and I ages combined. So it's like called anytime there's when he bowls in a regional or a national tournament, if there's a roller coaster, if there's an amusement park nearby, that's where you'll catch Patrick. So and just think, Chris, he doesn't have to qualify in the PT for the TOC. And he said that in the interview. I was like, folks, I can say I've known Patrick and his fiancee Jessica for a long time on social media. So they're very nice people to be around. So I look forward to seeing Patrick and Jessica when I go to Akron in 6 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's facial expression of Anthony Simonson. There's some memes out there. One guy wrote it on Facebook. That's my face when I have broccoli at night. Like
oh wow,
yeah. And I say, that was I haven't seen that in years on that tour on Sunday. That we had 5 or 6, 7, 10 splits.
It was 5.
5. So it was crazy that, and our friend Double A got 2 of them in the same back-to-back in the
yeah.
Yeah, so when you get 2 of them in a row, you kind of can't win a match.
No, I mean, it's like, but I will say, Patrick Dombrowski has been bowling on the PBA tour for 25 years. He's come close on several occasions. To see him win his first title major. Yeah. And I'll say this, Chris, I don't think he's done winning. He's got that vibe.
It reminds me of my good friend Tim Chris.
Yes, I know who that is.
Yeah, he bowled really. He's been on the tour his whole life. Like I knew him as with his nephew. Was bowling with me, his cousin, and like he was always knocking at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally he broke through in like 1998 and won a major. The PBA National Championship. And I was at his house, help dog sit. That national championship trophy is pretty nice looking.
I do believe that, good sir.
I saw that the old national championship video. And he and the same thing as Danny Wiseman. He bowled his whole life and got to the USB major Masters in Milwaukee and won his first major, and and he's a Hall of Famer, and I know Tim Chris is not a Hall of Famer, but he's still a Hall of Famer. He's still a Hall of Famer to me because he's such a good friend of ours, and
yes, he is, yes.
Yeah, but Yeah, so it was a tight, it was a close, good match, between those two.
All 5 were righties.
Yeah, a lot of righties, a lot of couple two-handers.
Yes.
Our good friend Tim from Delaware, did a pretty decent job, finished 5th, but
yes,
he led one round of the U.S. Open, so that's not bad.
He did. He sure did. Yeah.
So, what is your take on the tour the last 3 weeks on TV? You opened up with the Players Championship with the perfect game on TV, the first one since Bob Benoit. So, if Tom Clark needs a statistician guy,
it's called yeah.
Yeah, because I was right away looking at that right away.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So, and then you had the Pete Weber Classic. You had who won that one?
Who won the Pete Weber Classic? It was. Geez, it happened.
I know so quickly. It was a friend from Canada.
Yeah, Grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa, who bowled really well and beat Justin Knowles. Our good,
yes, he did.
He withdrew last week from the U.S. Open. I guess hope he's okay.
I hope so. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. So that was a great weekend. And then speaking of the weekend, I gotta. I'm gonna work on something.
Yeah, it's called Chris. I need to see this video of you. For you folks who don't know, as you all know, we have a good relationship with Towson University, and especially Towson baseball. And last Friday, my
it was Sunday. It was Sunday, dude. Sunday. Yeah, my birthday was last Friday.
Yes, so it's called. He threw out the first. So Chris threw out the first pitch at Sunday's Towson baseball game, and Chris.
Okay, here it is, folks.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad. I got it over the plate.
At least you got it over the plate.
Yep, I got it over the plate and it bounced, but I got it over. Yeah, I was only worried about. I was worried about when I got there. I was going to throw one behind the backstop.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Well, at least you had fun, and I know
it was great. It was great.
And I know Towson did not win on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were down 4-0 in the first, and I came home because I was getting ready to watch bowling. But but it was really cool. Coach Tyner and the team made me feel like I was part of the team for the warm ups.
That was nice.
Yeah, and when I got off the field, like one thing you do when you get off the mound, you don't step on that white chalk.
No.
So you do the little hop skip over it.
Yes.
Yes, because if you step on that line, then you got bad luck.
I've always hopped over Chris when I played Little League. So.
Yeah. So.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Hey Chris, you want to tell everyone a little teaser about?
Yes, I'm working on it right now here. So.
Yeah. So, we could have a very special guest joining us next Tuesday night.
We could. Let me get make sure I got the video lined up here. Hold on. And this guy used to be the head coach of North Carolina
and Southern Miss.
And I think he spent time at Baylor too, right?
He did.
Yeah. So let me try to get this up here.
Or waiting either on Coach Harper or Alex Donno from Locked On Canes to join us.
Yeah, I guess Coach Harper, probably having practice, probably.
Yeah.
I checked in with them, and they said they had. She has the link. Maybe she just forgot. But the video up. But let me just give you the caption here. Next Tuesday night, former North Carolina football coach Larry Fedora will be joining us. Hopefully, so we'll talk to him about his career at Chapel Hill and.
Yes, I remember him as a Chapel Hill.
I remember talking to him. He was a really cool guy on the show. On the teleconference calls, and this morning I got a message from him, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll love to do that." I'm like, "Huh?" Yeah. So I kind of spelt that wrong there. Yeah, next Tuesday night, former North Carolina football coach Larry Fedora will be joining us, hopefully, to talk about the state of college football, because he was part of that old part of college football.
Yeah, when the ACC had divisions, and I still wish the ACC had divisions. It would have been a lot easier, regarding the tiebreakers.
Yeah. So let me. SMU beat Syracuse at 86-69. So let me, see who just sent me an email here. Hold on. Lori sent me an email. Hold on here. Folks, my computer's slowly getting it up here.
And technology, wonderful.
She's on. Okay. Is she on? I don't see her.
Right. Do you mean Coach Harper?
Yeah, Coach Harper. I don't even see her.
I don't see her.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
see
yeah.
her.
No.
No.
Well,
Did I give her the right link?
I hope so.
I hope so. I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, I think I did. Hold on. Let me see if I can give her the other. See if I can give her a link here. Come on. Nope. Hold on.
As we're waiting on Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I did. Hold on. Oh, I gave her the wrong one. Crap.
Well, Chris.
My fault. I had too many of them at the wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's got to give her the right link.
Yeah. Here is the right link. My fault.
Yes. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I had tape interviews today, so that's probably why.
Yes, Chris. Yes, Chris.
Yeah. Hold on. Hopefully she'll get on there. We'll wait for Alex, or we'll just do it. We'll switch. If Alex comes on, we'll get Alex on, and then we'll get her on. My fault about that.
Chris, it's cut these things happen, you know that.
Yeah.
So.
So anyway, hopefully she'll log in. Hopefully, if not, we'll just do is when she gets in, we'll put her on, and we'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Let me text Scott here. Hold on.
And for you folks, regarding Coach Harper at Towson, they open up the CAA tournament Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and they take on the number 10 seed in the Hofstra Pride. So maybe Towson can get a little revenge after what happened last night on the men's side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a good game last night. Yeah,
I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to get this. Hold on here.
Chris is called. I will say, regarding the war. While we're waiting on someone to join us, I will say this regarding the World Baseball Classic. For you folks who have not been watching, I highly recommend it because you have some. Mexico's got some incredible major league talent on that team, like Randy Arozarena from Seattle. Obviously, we know about Shohei Ohtani from Team Japan. And I was reading something about Team Brazil. I think that Manny Ramirez's son is on Team Brazil.
Okay.
He actually hit 2 home runs against the USA. And one of them, and there's a player on Team Brazil who's a construction worker. Yeah, so it's like, and a lot of these teams have like minor league talent or talent from other baseball leagues. So it's been pretty incredible to see, where all these baseball players have been coming from. So
That's true.
watch the World Baseball Classic tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on FS1. USA versus Italy from Houston. I know I will.
Hopefully, Coach Harper gets the right link. That was my fault, folks, when you're busy getting everything done today. And
yes, Chris.
yeah, it happens. When you.
I know that.
Because when you do tape interviews on stream, they give StreamYard, they give you different links. So I must have clicked on the first one by accident.
Well, Chris, at least you.
Yep. So anyway, we have the ACC men's tournament going on. And back on this date in 1973, it was a classic game between North Carolina State and Maryland down there in Greensboro. So let's play that real quick here. So and we're waiting for somebody to join us. Hold on. That's when I had this thing in here. I am all over the place tonight.
I believe it. Chris, you got it?
Yeah, hold on. It's logging in there. Come on. Let's go.
What need the Jeopardy, what need the final question and Jeopardy theme music?
Here it is. Here's the classic from 1973.
Things to be shamed of here in this game. Played it right to the wire, and the Terps weren't beaten until the final second and tipped off. A truly fantastic game for the ACC championship. Won by North Carolina State, 76-74, in a battle here of two of the nation's outstanding teams. David Thompson being congratulated at Benny Biedenbach of the coaching staff under Norman Sloan. This is the final game for North Carolina State, the end of the road for them, but they made it a glorious season. 27 consecutive victories, not in any of the great years of ever case of North Carolina State was a Wolfpack team able to go through a season without a loss. Not even, a matter of fact, in its rich history as North Carolina State even had an undefeated season at home, believe it or not, but this year they won them all. A team that was placed on probation by the NCAA before the season began because of recruiting violations, and they went to work rather than losing their momentum or their interest in the game or their desire. This team rallied around that point, and under Norman Sloan's coaching, they pulled themselves together with a common purpose and a common goal, and that was to be, as they stated before their first game. And there goes the coach of the year, Norman Sloan, and what a happy moment for him. This is all that they could shoot for. But their avowed goal before the season began was to be undefeated and to be ranked number 2 in the nation. That was their fondest hopes. They had conceded that UCLA had one of the most unusually great teams ever assembled. And North Carolina State now has done that. Now it's up to UCLA, of course, to see if it can defend its national title.
Atlantic Coast Conference Basketball is produced by Castleman D. Chesley and brought to you by...
This game is brought to you by the Pilot Line.
All right, some classic basketball from 1973.
Fine.
So we have somebody on the show. It's our good friend Alex. Who,
yes.
So you want to bring him in, Adam? Go ahead.
Sure. So now we switch gears, going from the SEC to the ACC, where the Miami Hurricanes have had a strong year in the regular season, and now they are the number 3, and they are they're the number 3 seed in the ACC tournament. So joining us now to preview Miami in the ACC tournament is our good friend, the host of Locked On Canes, Alex Donno, joining us. Alex, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. And Coach Ty Lucas has had an incredible season down there in Coral Gables. So, for people who don't understand, how can Miami get the job done and win the ACC tournament.
Yeah, Coach Lucas has done a great job. I'll get back to that in a second. As far as the ACC tournament goes, it is really big for Miami, as you mentioned, being the 3 seed in the ACC tournament with the top 4 seeds getting the double bye. So, if Miami is, and it's going to be a difficult road through the bracket, but if Miami is fortunate enough to get to the conference tournament championship game, they would only have to play 3 games in 3 days versus 5 games in 5 days if you don't have any bye weeks, because Miami, the one major critique you can make of their team, and we'll see how much this gets amplified, in this crucial month of March, is they don't have a whole lot of depth. Like, you're talking about probably a 7-man rotation throughout the postseason. So to be able to, play fewer games in the ACC tournament, and obviously if you lose your first game, you're out, but hopefully Miami can make an ACC tournament run. But, to not have to expend your legs quite as much, before Selection Sunday and before your NCAA tournament begins next week, because Miami will be in the tournament. It's good because you want to have, the 14 legs, the 7 pairs that you're going to be using throughout the ACC tournament. You want them to be as fresh as possible. So for Miami to have a successful ACC tournament, the first thing is, right off the bat, they're probably going to have an opportunity to avenge their final loss of the season, because the way that things play out, Louisville, who's got a first-round bye, they're going to play tomorrow. That's who you would expect to advance and face Miami in the quarterfinals. This is a team that just beat the Hurricanes on Saturday in the regular season finale for both. Louisville started the game red hot. They had a big scoring run. They were hitting their threes. I know Miami kind of felt like they were beaten in like the first 10 minutes of that game. It was close down the stretch. Miami did take a brief second half lead, but they weren't able to finish the job. It's hard to beat the same team twice, especially within a week. So hopefully that plays out in Miami's favor. But again, the road would be difficult, because if you beat Louisville in the quarterfinals, then you likely would have to face Virginia, who beat Miami in the regular season, in the semifinals. And then your prize for winning that game would be, likely matching up with Duke, assuming, UNC doesn't, and they could knock them out in the semifinal round. So the ACC tournament, fellas, is absolutely stacked. And for Miami to make a run, really the strength of their team, they are a tremendous rebounding, especially offensive rebounding team. That's worked out really well for them with Uday and Renew, especially in the front court. And their guards have been hot recently when needed. Trey Donaldson being a great story this year with how much he's been scoring and picking up the offense. So, guard play is usually what leads you into postseason runs, and being physical, getting your rebounds, getting your blocks and steals. I mean, Ernest Uday is also an elite shot blocker. In Miami's last win of the season, he had 4 block shots. And what you want to see consistency from that Miami doesn't always do well: free throw shooting and 3-point shooting. They're very hot and cold in those areas. They get to the free throw line a lot. It's a question of converting on your free throws. So if they can have a good run of perimeter shooting and free throw shooting, I believe they have other tools that are necessary for a deep run in either of these tournaments coming up.
Yeah. So last year, with Coach Larry Naga just decided before Christmas to resign, because I guess he got tired, and I guess because of the all the transfer portals and all that stuff. And I think all these old coaches are not used to that new way of basketball, and we see it in football too. And then you bring this this new coach in. What do they do to turn it around? Because last year at this time they were playing today. If you look at it,
Yeah, and last year they've actually completely reversed their record. They went 7-24 in the regular season last year, and they went 24-7 in the regular season this year.
Gosh,
yeah,
wow.
It's pretty crazy how that worked out for them. The roster last year, it was flawed. It was rotten to the core. Which it's unfortunate that it had to end that way for Coach L, because he added relevance to Miami's basketball program that they never had before he got there. You know, they had a Final Four run just a few years ago. They had 2 Elite 8 appearances, Sweet 16 appearances. Like, before Coach L got to Miami, they'd never gone farther than the Sweet 16. But I think to what you mentioned, Chris, I think just the modern era of college basketball, it caught up to Coach L, where the sport became so transactional. You know, Jim Larinaga told a story where, you know, after Miami had their Final Four appearance a couple of years ago, right after that Final Four, he's got the players who were on that Final Four team in his office like, hey, coach, I need an NIL raise or I'm going to transfer. That's just it's completely different from what he was used to over the years. And, you know, the timing wasn't great because, like you said, I think it was Christmas Eve, like when he announced he was stepping down. So you kind of wish he had decided that at some point, like well before the season started. But at the same time, I credit Jim Larinaga for kind of figuring out this just wasn't this wasn't for him anymore, and to give Miami finished out the year last year with an interim coach, Bill Courtney, who, on a side note, he passed away very suddenly this year. May he rest in peace. Wow. Yeah. So Bill Courtney finished out. It was just a rough season last year, not a very good roster. And then in terms of like why Coach Lucas has found so much success, he came up in this era. Like this era, you know, the transfer portal, high school recruiting being what it is now. You know, Coach Lucas cut his teeth in this era, was the top assistant for John Shire at Duke the last couple of years. So, you know, he knows how to recruit in 2025, 2026. And I just think he was a really good hire. Like, the only thing that was a little bit risky about the Lucas hire, and it's worked out so far, is he had never been a head coach at the college level before. So you are taking a first-time head coach, but I think he's shown for his first full regular season on the job that he's capable of being a head coach in high-level college basketball. He's obviously had success in recruiting, transfer portal. Yeah, I don't know if your listeners and viewers know this, but when Coach Lucas took over, even going back to last April, 7 months before the season started, he had 0 players on his roster. Had to completely build his roster from scratch between, you know, April and, you know, whenever the August deadlines were to enroll in classes. Like, you're talking, 4 months, he had to completely build his roster from scratch. So I was super impressed with that. And that, to me, is the primary reason why Miami's going to be using like a 7-man rotation in the tournament, because your roster was completely built in the matter of a few months.
Exactly. Well, Coach, I saw him at George Mason because I covered the CAA back in the day, and he was like a rock star when he came through, you know, like at Towson. I was like, oh, that's Coach Larinaga. Okay. You know, like, I was like really impressed by the way he brought that university from nowheres to the Final Four. And they had a guy from Aberdeen, you know, Maryland, who was on there, and I remember I was Jai Lewis. I was trying to get him on the show. I was at the college, you know, Harper Community College, like, hey, can I get a pass? And the NCAA goes, sorry, you can't get one. I'm like, okay. Yeah, but it was in D.C., but it was great to see that what he did with a small school. And then when he went off to Miami and changing the culture that's known for football, because you see it at Florida State and Miami, we're known for football, not basketball. You know, and, you know, changing the narrative for a couple of years, like, oh, the football team's having problems with the basketball team's having a great time. Even my brother Will is a Miami Hurricane football guy, and he's like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of basketball. You know, I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, but when they went to the Final Four, he was like really happy about it.
Yeah, that was in like, I think 2023, and there were people around Miami were saying like, are we a basketball school now? Because, you know, the football team was struggling. I mean, they went like, you know, Mario Cristobal's first 2 seasons, they went 5-7 the first year, 7-5 the second year. Basketball was where it was at for a couple of years there under Coach L. And you're 100% right. He did wonders for Miami's basketball program because, you know, they were mid to lower ACC tier before he got there. And it just, you know, Miami was kind of they had some decent years. They had a a Sweet 16 appearance like once in a blue moon, but they were not really relevant. You had to go back to like the Leonard Hamilton days, but before the turn of the century, when Coach before Coach Ham spent like 25 years at Florida State, he was at Miami for a while, and that was the last time they were somewhat relevant. And Coach L took it to another level.
Yeah, Adam, you have another question?
Yeah. So, what I want to know is, the Miami baseball team, they dropped their weekend series to Boston College. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute. A lot of people said that the Miami Hurricanes could have a shot to go to the ACC tournament and maybe sneak in to host a regional. So, Alex, since you cover Miami, what's going on at the White, with Miami baseball?
I felt like I got catfished by the baseball team because when they opened up the season and they were playing, the lesser schools for their first 3 weekend series, they were put against like the Lehighs of the world. They were putting up like 18 runs, 25 runs. It's like they have some very capable bats. There's no question about it. Led by Daniel Cuvée, Danny Dingers, we call him down here. But unfortunately, the pitching, especially the bullpen and the closer Bilka, who blew a save on Friday night against Boston College, it's just not been convincing enough. Like they've had clutch hitting at times, but they haven't been able, and defensively as well, some errors. Like if they're playing home run derbies, they can go toe to toe with anybody, but they've really struggled against great pitching in the big games. I will say, I make the catfish joke. I will say, last year they had an even worse start to the season than this year, and they ended up like an inning or two away from going to Omaha. Like they stuck the landing last year. They finished the season strong. So I'm willing to give. I know a lot of folks in Miami aren't too happy with with the head coach JD Arteaga. Isn't inspiring a whole lot of confidence right now, but he was able to right the ship last year. Miami brought in a lot of talented players through the baseball transfer portal, but it's been rough, dropping 2 out of 3 to Boston College. And then the week before, they didn't get to play the third game because of weather, but they lost the first 2 against Florida. So it turned into a 2-game sweep because they got rained out for the third game. But it was Florida the same way, like Miami has owned Florida in football. Florida has owned Miami in baseball and basketball. It's like every year when Miami plays a series against Florida every year, home and home every season. One or the other every other year, and that's always the reality check. Every time Miami plays Florida in baseball, that's always the series that brings you back down to earth.
I didn't want to mention the Florida series, but it's like for you people who don't know, when it comes to college baseball rivalry series, Miami and Florida is one of the top non-conference rivalries in the entire country, and Alex can tell you it's either being played in Gainesville or at historic Mart-like field at Alex Rodriguez Park. Those fans will come out. They will pack the stands. They will have that incredible light milkshake that I've heard is so thick and creamy. It makes me want one every time I see a picture. So I know you've had a couple, Alex. Am I right?
Oh yeah, and I'm old enough to remember when the Mark Light Shake, like back when I was in school at Miami, like almost 20 years ago, like that. I used to be able to there was only a couple people in front of you in line. I think in the social media era, I think is when the Mark Light Shake really blew up. So on any given game day for Miami Hurricanes baseball, like you're going to be in line for a couple of innings if you don't get one the game start like that, and they make those shakes as fast as they can, but the lines are massive because they are so popular and they're so good.
Oh, Alex, now I got to go down there one day and go get one. And if I ever come down there, I'll buy you one too.
Oh, you're the man. Thank you. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Alex. It's
nice. Good job, Adam. All right, Alex, I appreciate you joining us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the tournament. And we'll talk to you later in the spring about Miami football, if they could get back to where they were in January, where my brother actually was very happy until that bad pass that Beck threw to the wrong guy.
He and me both.
Yes. So yeah, we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks, man.
I appreciate Alex. You guys. Thank you for having me.
See you.
Welcome.
Bye.
Right. Alex is awesome.
Yeah, that's Alex Donno from the Lockdown Canes and Lockdown ACC. So,
yes.
Yeah, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk indoor soccer.
Yes, that's right.
Do you want to bring him in?
Yeah, like? So for you folks who don't know, about the Orioles, about Major League Baseball, the NFL, and a lot of other teams. But did you know that Baltimore has an indoor soccer team? Well, yes, they do. It's called Baltimore Blast, and they play in the MISL. And we have one of their outstanding players joining us. Hall of Famer Tony Donatelli is joining us. So, Tony, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm just talk about playing in the MISL.
Thanks for having me. It was been a dream come true. I was able to have a very long career. Played over 10 seasons with the Baltimore Blast, won 4 championships with them. Such a historic franchise. And like you said, a lot of attention goes to the Orioles and the Ravens in Baltimore, but, the Blast are the most winningest franchise in Baltimore with 10 championships. So I was really proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, you guys, I think you have more titles with the Orioles and Ravens combined. It's pretty remarkable. And you guys played down in the city, and then, 5-6 years ago, you moved up to Towson, right?
Yeah, it was in 2017 or 18. We made the move up to Towson. It's just a bit smaller of a field. It's a really nice facility, and it's a great home field advantage for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a very fans are right there. With the arena. No offense to the arena, down in the city, that's great for hockey and all that stuff. But with being in the at Towson at the CQ Arena where Pat Scarry does his business during the spring, like you guys do, it's very fan friendly. It's right there. The players are right there. The ball goes in the crowd. The kids. My brother Matt called me a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Is the Blast still playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're still playing, dude." He's like, "Where are they?" I'm like, "Towson." He's like, "They moved up from Towson?" I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "Wow." So he wants to bring the kids, and it's affordable for kids to go watch soccer.
Absolutely, it's a great experience for the fan. I have kids of my own now, and not playing anymore. I'm able to bring them there, and they just love going to the games. The players and fans have a great relationship. They're very interactive, like you said. They're right on top of the field, so there's no bad seat. It's a really cool experience and environment to play in.
Yeah. So you played there before you retired, and then you were inducted in the Blast Hall of Fame this past February, just a month ago. How cool was that to be in the Hall of Fame with everybody like Billy Nelson, who I knew up in Harford County, because when I was doing the show on WFC up in Harford County, we tried to get him on. And I remember him being one of the Blast players I know, and my brother knows Pat Healy from his days of rec ball, so it's pretty cool. All my, there's a connection in my family knows all about these Blast players.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's such an honor when I first started playing in Philadelphia and played against the Blast and played against guys like Billy Nelson, and then be able to come here, play with guys like you said, Pat Healy, so many legends of the game, to see, those names listed up on the Hall of Fame banners as a player. It's you look up to those players and those people, and to now be included on that, it's surreal for me, and it's a great honor.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah. So I was looking at it. I was looking at something on your Wikipedia page, and it says you in 2016 you earned your first cap with the U.S. futsal team, national team. Now, I've never heard of the U.S. futsal national team. So is that like another version of soccer?
It is, yeah. So it's kind of like a mix between outdoor and indoor. So it's on like a basketball court size, 4 against 4. There's no boards like in indoor soccer. You have boards that keeps the ball in play. There's like an actual touch lines, just like outdoor soccer. It's huge all over the world, especially in South America, Brazil, and in Europe. It's really a great, developmental tool where the younger players learn how to get good control of the ball and kind of translate. So, it's like another version of a national team, and I was honored to be able to, get a cap there and play in a World Cup qualifier and, play, get that national team recognition.
Mm-hmm. Adam, go ahead. I'm working on something here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, for people who didn't follow major indoor soccer, I can remember when I can remember the MISL, and you played in other soccer leagues as well. So just talk about converting from playing indoor soccer to playing regular outdoor soccer.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a big transition. Obviously, when you grow up, almost everyone is playing outdoor soccer regularly, and indoor soccer is a little bit of a niche. In the Northeast, luckily here, as the weather gets cold, you don't really have a choice but to play some indoor soccer. So growing up, I had that opportunity. But going from the outdoor game to the indoor game, obviously it's a smaller field, a lot faster game. Pressure is on you quick, so you got to make quick decisions. You have to have good control and skill on the ball. That's why you'll see a lot of Brazilian players in the indoor league, because they have that natural skill that translates well to the indoor game. So some people can make that transition really easily. You can be a great outdoor player and then try to come play indoor, and it can be very difficult for some, and vice versa. So it's a very different game, but certain players have that ability to excel at both.
Mm-hmm. And growing up, did you have any famous soccer players you like watching, like Pele or any of those legends? Because Absolutely. I remember that Pele did play indoor soccer as well.
Yeah, so he was a little bit before my time. But yeah, watching the indoor game, I grew up in Philadelphia, so I saw some of the indoor players from Philadelphia, like Don D'Amber and Pat Morris, who I ended up being teammates with. But just watching the indoor game and even in the outdoor game, I was a fan of Liverpool, so Steven Gerrard was someone that I always admired as a player. And so I try to, emulate my game a little bit after him, and then some other guys like Alessandro Del Piero, who played in Italy. But always, I'm a fan of just the game, so I love watching guys like Messi and Mbappe now, and Ronaldo, and so many great players. And so, I always look up to those guys.
So, Tony, did you play in the outdoor game too with the MLS? Did you play in Vancouver and Montreal and San Jose?
Absolutely, yeah. So I had a long outdoor career. I kind of did indoor and outdoor for a few years until I hit like 30, and then you kind of have to make a choice. Yeah, so I played in San Jose, like you said, Vancouver and Montreal were 3 of the big outdoor teams I played in. Was fortunate enough to win 3 outdoor championships. Played in Philadelphia indoor, won a championship there, and then obviously came into Baltimore for my last 10 years. And so, as an outdoor career, I was able to, earlier in your single life, you're able to travel the world. And so I played in a lot of different cities and got to experience a lot of cool things and get some amazing teams. Played against AC Milan in Italy and played in the Champions League and a lot of cool experiences, and then was able to transition into the indoor game permanently.
Yeah, I heard the other day that Vancouver's having a hard time getting a stadium now. It's like when I was looking at you played there. What is your take on that? They just made it to the the final last year. It's like like they were talking about moving now, because I guess Vancouver can't give them a stadium, or they're tired of the BC place or something. I have no.
Yeah, It's a crazy situation. I mean, when I played there over 15 years ago, they were talking about getting a stadium, and so it's been an ongoing feud, and they haven't gotten a resolution there. I mean, playing in BC Place is great. I know they made a lot of renovations to it, but having your own soccer-specific stadium that you can build from scratch would be fantastic. I know they're working on it. Who knows if they can get it done? But I'd hate to see them lose the team because, again, another historic franchise that's been around for almost 50 years. Back in the NASL days with some legends, won some championships, and so I'm sure they'll do everything they can to make that work there.
Yeah, it's fascinating that like DC they made their own soccer stadium, DC United. They played the old RFK, for a long time until they built their own one down there and over near the Nationals ballpark. But it's like some of these teams can't afford. These cities can't afford it. It's like New York's making 2 of them. There's
right.
One for the team that plays at Yankee Stadium. They're moving out of Yankee Stadium, and the other one, the Red Bulls play it, down in New Jersey. It's crazy.
It is, and you look at even some of the teams that aren't even in the MLS or lower levels, USL. I was able to play in Charleston, South Carolina. And they were the first soccer-specific stadium in the United States back in the 90s, and so I guess it's really dependent on the city, on the priorities that they have, how big that team is in that city, and what power they have to get something built.
Yeah. Adam, you have the last question. Go ahead.
Sure. So you played your college soccer at Temple University. So, what was it like to play for the Owls in the city of Burley?
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm from Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia originally. And so, funny story, actually, the head coach at Temple at the time was Dave McWilliams, who is a Baltimore Blast Hall of Famer as well, was the captain of the team back in the 80s.
Nice.
So it kind of went full circle, after playing at Temple. But, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, being in your home city, playing at a school like Temple, a highly respected Division I college, was awesome. And then to be able to translate that and transition that into a professional career was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that people don't realize the Blast has been here for a long time, and they still have a rivalry with San Diego. It's like that was like old school rivalry when I was a kid, like in the early 80s or late 90s. Hearing all about the trash talking, and now it's like it's not the same, but it's still. I saw it the other day. They played San Diego. I was like, oh, okay, they're still there. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, they still have a great team, and it's a great franchise. And like the Blast, I mean, every time you play them, it's a heated game, and always decided by 1 or 2 goals. So we'll see this year. Both teams are again at the top of the standings, and might have another championship rematch there.
Yeah.
And I know you're ready for the World Cup in the summertime, to see how, Team USA stacks up against the rest of the world. It should be quite interesting, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, you and me too. Yeah, I can't wait. And they have a great team, so we'll see. See what
they do. They do.
Yeah. All right, Tony, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and congratulations on being a Hall of Famer with the Blast. And hopefully you have hope you're enjoying retirement and enjoying the family life. And thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks, guys, for having me.
All right, man.
Yes, thanks, Tony.
Yeah. All right, that's Tony Noctinelli, former Blast Hall of Famer. We're going to make a little change here. We're going to stay on a little bit after Rocco because Scott is getting back to the hotel.
Okay.
So we're making a little change. In the meantime, we're going to play my interview I did with Chris Knoche this morning or this mid-afternoon. Right now, Maryland is playing Oregon, and we'll get you the score after we're done with this. So here is the interview with myself and Chris Knoche from the Maryland Sports Radio Network. All right, folks, welcome. We have Chris Knoche from the Maryland Sports Radio Network. He's in Chicago for the first round of the Big Ten basketball championship game tournament between Maryland and Oregon. So, Chris, we talked to you back in January after they played Oregon, at home, and it was a tough loss. So it seems like it's been a tough loss all season long in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's been a long year. Combination of several things, as it usually is. It's the injuries didn't help. It's sort of a Murphy's Law kind of a thing, Chris, where just whatever could go wrong did. and led to a disappointing year. They, as I said, they had a couple of critical injuries, and then guys didn't play as well as I think the staff had hoped. Perhaps they misevaluated a couple of them, but whatever the case may be, it was a long walk in the desert for sure.
Yeah, I know they had a tough schedule this year. Like this non-conference schedule was tough. They were playing, that big tournament in Vegas, and all that stuff. So was that just what Buzz was trying to do to see what kind of a player, that team he has with all these tough non-conference schedules, and see what he has?
Well, I mean, I just think different coaches have different philosophies about, how to put together a schedule. And to be honest with you, it's a lot more art than science. I don't know that anybody's right necessarily.
Right.
And Buzz's thing is simply just to play the best. The other thing is when you factor in specifically that tournament out in Vegas, it does a lot of positive things for your NIL bottom line. And so that's a reason why you play in an opportunity like that. And I think you probably, obviously we've got some of these teams are on the schedule again next year. We're going back to Vegas. Virginia, who had a great year, is still on the schedule for the next 3 years. So, it's going to be this way. I think he's sort of decided that this is going to be the way he wants to go about business.
Yeah. Do you feel like he has like a reprieve for this year? Because I know Willard left this time last year, and then he was hired, beginning of April, and it was all, he only had like short time to get everybody together before October practice, pretty much.
I think that in this day and age, you can't, gosh, it's such an immediate world, and everybody wants success, immediately, and I get it. And one of the great things about the Maryland program, the reason why it's such an attractive job, is that the bar is set high. People win, and that's why Buzz wanted it. That's why anybody would want it. So it comes with it, an accompanying amount of pressure. It's for somebody else to decide whether there's any pressure or trouble or whatever hot seat type stuff. I just think that in this day and age, one of the things that we're learning, you look around and there are a lot of teams that have been able to turn it around on a dime. Mm-hmm. And Terps weren't one of them. And ultimately, whether you like it or not, you get compared to those who were able to turn it around on a dime. Right. And so I think next year is a really important year for the program. I'd be surprised if this team isn't remarkably and dramatically better. But again, there are a lot of, you got to fill in a lot of missing colors. Every year is a little bit different in terms of roster construction, and they've got some decisions to make.
Yeah. Well, I know you've been doing the games with Johnny. What do you, if you were the coach of Maryland, what would you fix in the offseason to get better for November 1st or whatever the first game is next year?
Well, I think you want to keep your own. The decision has to be made as to who you're keeping and who you're letting walk, first and foremost. And I think in a perfect world, you certainly want Pharrell Payne back, who was playing great until he was hurt, and you would want Andre Mills back. For sure. I mean, he's had a star turn here in the last 2 months. And, that's a really nice 1-2 punch right there, just those two guys. Now, I think that ultimately, too, they need a point guard or two. And that's where the portal comes in, because you really don't want to hand that all over, I think, to a freshman at that position. So you want somebody with some experience. And I'm not telling tales out of school. These guys know what they're doing. The staff does, and they are. I'm sure they've realized that that's an area of need as well.
Yeah. So this game against Oregon, the winner plays Iowa tomorrow. Pretty much the first game at 12 noon. So if Maryland can get off that losing streak they had, because they lost to Illinois and then they lost to Rutgers, and it's just been bad the last week and a half. So I guess if they win one tournament, it makes them feel good.
Well, it's a little bit like, going out and playing golf and not playing well, and then, having a birdie on the last par four. It's kind of the game you remember. It's the hole you remember, or the shots you remember. So maybe there's something to that. And Oregon's not a bad matchup for them. We didn't play well at all when we lost to them in College Park, and shot miserably in that game. But yeah, you got to take care of business. The Terps were in a position there right in the middle of the game where they were tied up with 10 to play, and just didn't get it done. And they're not without their own issues. Oregon, there's a reason why they're in this game as well. So a lot of times this doesn't come down to who wants to play; it's who doesn't want to play. Who's fired up to to make a mark in this game. So we'll see. It's two teams that should really want to win.
Yeah, it's fascinating that in the Big Ten, all 18 teams play in the tournament, because in the ACC, the last 3 teams in the league, they're not even in the tournament. It's like, see you later, have a great rest of your spring season, and go play golf somewhere. It's like, it's fascinating.
But I'll be honest.
All right, so that was part of our interview there. Sorry, I hit the wrong buttons here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we'll play the rest of it on our YouTube page. We'll Coach Harper will join hopefully next week. My fault on my end when.
Well, at least.
Yeah, I didn't realize I sent the wrong one. It's like,
Chris, it's called. You'll learn.
Yeah, you learn. Yeah, that's why sometimes you need an executive producer.
Chris, will you please get Rocco on the phone?
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to join me. So.
Fine. It's called. I know all about Rocco. I follow him on Twitter, and it's called.
Do you want him to? We could do. Does he want to do phone or Zoom? Phone or Zoom?
It's called if he wants to go on. It's called if he wants to do Zoom. Send him the link.
Yeah.
Sheesh, it's called.
Hold
on video.
Well, he's at the. He's at the.
I know it's called. He's at the West Coast Conference tournament.
Yeah, so I just didn't know if he wanted to do it on Zoom on our end, because I was trying to make sure.
Well, I know that it's called whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Just
let me know, and I'll.
Yeah. I'm going to send him the link right now. So.
Good. It's called. Yeah.
Hold on. Just trying to get everything. Speaking of dead air here, Maryland did beat Oregon today.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, so they beat Oregon, and they do play Iowa tomorrow in the next round.
Well, I'm off work, so
yeah.
I've got the ACC, I got the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC. So you know what I'll be doing tomorrow, Chris.
Yeah. Okay, so he wants to do it on the phone. So let me get him a call. Okay.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Call Rocco.
I'm trying to get my phone. Now my phone's not letting me do anything.
Fine.
All right, so hold on here. Let's run a commercial real quick here.
Yeah. We'll be
every single day, the usual mom stuff.
All right, so you're going to tell me where we're going now?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I'm telling you till you get there.
I'm telling you.
No way I'm telling you.
All right, we got this gentleman on the phone, so Adam, go right ahead.
I finally get to talk with him. All right, folks. Sunday, the NCAA men's basketball bracket will be released, and one of the things that everyone wants to know is, well, Miami of Ohio, if they were to lose in the MAC tournament, would they still get in? Well, our next guest can answer that question for you, because I follow him on Twitter. He's an excellent college hoops analyst, excellent bracketologist. He's in Vegas for the finals of the West Coast Conference tournament tonight. So joining us on the phone now is a good friend, Rocco Miller. So Rocco, nice to finally talk with you after following you on Twitter for a long time. So if the Red Hawks were to lose in the MAC tournament, would they still get in the NCAA tournament?
Rocco, can you hear us? Rocco, you there?
This is Scott, by the way.
Oh, hi, Scott. My fault. I got the wrong phone. Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll call you back in like 10 minutes. It's my fault.
Chris?
Hold on. Jesus. I am all over the place here today. We've got so many people. Yeah. All right.
Well, now call Rocco, and I'll have to.
Yeah, hold on, bud. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm having two people in Texas. Oh, okay. Okay, phone's better. Okay, that's Scott. So I'm waiting for. I got to call Rocco.
Yeah, call Rocco.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying.
I got to do my.
Sorry, guys. This is what live radio is tonight, so we're just all over the place.
Yes, it is. Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, so. It's on Bluetooth for it. No, it turns off. All right, we're going to try to get them on here. Hold on, guys.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
Let's bring Scott back on.
Yeah, we'll bring Scott back on. Yeah.
All right, let's do Scott, and then we'll bring him. Hopefully, the guy will call us, and then we'll get.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Folks, this is what live radio, TV shows do. So, we make
we're all over the place.
big changes, make, yeah. So, all right, let's bring him back in.
Yeah. Yeah, bring in Scott.
This is Scott.
Hi, Scott. It's Chris and Adam. We're so sorry. We'll get you on right now. We apologize.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Scott.
We apologize. We're trying to get, it's funny. We both have these two people we want to get. You and the other guy both have the same area code almost.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I dialed the wrong one.
Chris.
I'm all over the place today. So
Yes,
Scott,
I know you are, Chris.
Good win today by SMU over Syracuse. Good win.
Huge win.
Yeah.
Finally played well. But more than that, you come out and even though you didn't shoot that well early, it didn't affect your defense, which is what really plagued SMU in the last game against Florida State. And SMU just kept battling. And Hoopy Miller was the only player to hit a three, I think, until 30 minutes into the game, believe it or not, for SMU. And this is a team that does a great job at shooting from deep. But Miller was the only one that could hit anything, and SMU just kept fighting and kept battling against that tenacious Syracuse zone defense. And even though SMU only had, 2 fast break points for the game and had to play a lot in the half court, the Mustangs executed it, probably the best they've executed in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So tomorrow they play. They go the next day for you guys, so you can spend an extra night in Charlotte. So what's your plan for tonight? Are you going to hit some good North Carolina barbecue? Because I know Adam knows all about that stuff around there.
Yeah, I do.
I thought about that, then I look up and it's already 7:30 Eastern time, and we have like 22 hours between games. And I thought, as much as we prepare, I don't want to shortchange that, so we may have to put that barbecue on hold, and I might have to actually eat with the team for once.
Nice. Oh, okay. All right, Scott. All right.
Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, so Scott, your next opponent is someone you guys have already faced twice this year in Louisville, and you guys split the regular series with the Cardinals. So just talk about facing a team for a third time this year, and what does SMU got to do to get on the winning track against Louisville tomorrow in Charlotte?
Yeah, well, the two teams split. SMU losing at Louisville in the first game, and then coming back and scoring 95 in the second game at home at Moody to beat the Cardinals 95-85. But the two games were so different because offensively, SMU just kind of got stuck on one side of the floor up in Louisville. The ball just stuck. Couldn't do anything in terms of reversing the ball or skipping it. SMU only had 7 assists on 30 makes at Louisville, which is a 23% assist rate. And if you're not at 60%, if you're not assisting on 60% of your baskets, you're probably not playing very well or very healthy on offense. But SMU was able to make that adjustment and able to really emphasize getting the ball to the open man, driving, drawing two, and getting it reversed or skipping it, and to the tune of where on 38 makes in the second game, SMU assisted on 21 of those baskets, which is almost 60. It was 55%. So it was a lot better. The reality is you've got to play good basketball on both ends against Louisville, and I don't know that you can give up 85 to them tomorrow and have a chance against them.
Yeah. So, Scott, real quick before we let you go, just talk about SMU basketball, because we know about you in football, because it's great that you do basketball and football like our good friend Mike Burnett does at Virginia Tech. What do you see with the basketball team? Are they a March Madness team that when it comes to Sunday, we'll be glad to see them on the bracket?
I know what really helped SMU out after that Florida State loss to end the regular season, which was the fourth straight loss, longest losing streak in the Andy Enfield era, and certainly for the year. We lost B.J. Edwards, arguably our most effective player, certainly a glue guy for our team. But to answer your question, is it enough to get you in the tournament? We're certainly a good enough team to make the tournament, win healthy. You could argue that maybe you're a bubble team, maybe not when you're not healthy, but I know for sure when you are healthy, this is absolutely NCAA tournament team. My gosh, we were I think seeded 7th until like 2 weeks ago. Some of us had 7th. Some of the bracketologists had us an 8th seed. Now we're on the bubble. If you watch Joe Lenardi, we're absolutely on the bubble, one of the first 4 in. I think if you can keep it close tomorrow, you got a real good chance to make the tournament. If you win tomorrow, if SMU beats Louisville, absolutely going to make the tournament, I think. I think even if you lose tomorrow, depending on how the game plays out, you still got a shot to make it.
Right. That's true. Well, Scott,
some people think just winning the day is enough.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I agree. So we want to let you go so you can get some good food, okay? Enjoy the go eat, and we'll talk to you hopefully during spring practice for football, and we'll try to get you on before the ACC kickoff. Okay.
I'm ready. We're looking forward to it.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That's our good friend Scott Garner joining us on the phone. We did a little audible there, Adam.
Yes, I know. Okay, Chris.
Now Rocco is here, so you want to bring him in? Sir.
Yes, yes. His introduction was a warm up. So, folks. We all know about the hit. We all know about the incredible run that the Miami of Ohio Redhawks have done the MAC. Becoming undefeated right now. Well, if you're wondering if they would get in if they were to lose in the MAC tournament, our last guest can tell you. I have been following this gentleman on Twitter for a long time. He is someone that I've always wanted to talk with. He is a college hoops analyst. He's a bracketologist, and he's out in Vegas right now for the finals of the highly anticipated West Coast Conference basketball championship game tonight between Gonzaga and Santa Clara. So joining us now is Rocco Miller from Bracketeer.org. Rocco, as someone who has followed you for a long time, it's nice to finally talk with you. So my first question is, can the Red Hawks get in the tournament even if they were to lose in the MAC tournament?
Adam, Chris, great to be on with you. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome.
I would just say the Red Hawks are going to the dance. I mean, they did something that is probably the hardest thing to do. That's win every single night.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was 18 MAC games. I know it was 10 Division I non-conference games. I know it was 3 non-Division I games. But what they did was historic. I mean, less than around 10 teams of all time have ever done that.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they're so they just win differently than different. Like Akron's a good example, right? Akron they're built to destroy. They're built to go rim to rim, blow you out.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they're going to have better Ken Palm numbers, and they're better athletes than most of the MAC. Miami, Ohio is more methodical. They struggled defensively a lot of the season, but they're very connected. They anticipate well. They're so crisp offensively. One of the best passing teams. I got to see them in Jacksonville when they played UNC Greensboro. That was a perfect example of that, like how their whole season went. They're down by 9 at halftime. And I'm looking at whoever I was sitting next to, and I go, this is not a good team. Like, they look terrible in the first half. And then, sure enough, second half starts. It's like a 21-2 run. They go running away with it. And I'm like, okay, that team was unbelievable. Give me that second half team against anybody, and they can hang. Like, they're so talented. They're just so connected. And I think the most important thing that I think people are forgetting is that they lost to Akron by 2 points in the MAC title game last year. And a big reason why all these guys came back, besides money, they had to put some money together, let's be honest.
Right.
Was to make sure they win this MAC tournament in Cleveland. In their locker room, regardless of what we talk about, that's all that matters is this week. And I think they're gonna. I have a feeling. I mean, I can't. There's no guarantees, but I have a feeling they're gonna come out with their hair on fire when they take the court in Cleveland, because this has been the goal all year. And let's not forget, when you win that many games in a row and you're getting all this NCAA tournament talk, it's very hard to perform night in and night out. You're playing elimination games. UC. We went through it. We played it with you. We talked about it a lot with UC San Diego last year. They had to win about 4 straight weeks of elimination games. Miami, Ohio had to pretty much do that all year.
Right.
And now I think some of that weight is at least off, and they're now finally able to focus on what they all came back for, winning this tournament in Cleveland. Yeah. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, Rocco, I was listening to the folks at Westwood One. We have a good friend, Josh Graham, who does the late night show there, and he was talking about that. It's fascinating that nobody wanted to schedule these guys in their non-conference schedule. Like the Pittsburgh team told them, Pitt said no. The other, like Ohio State, even in their own state, told them no. So it's like what? Why is it so hard to schedule somebody like Miami, Ohio, so they could get better on their rankings, so they could help them with their RPI to get into the tournament? Yes, they're 31-0, and they have, and they're going to be in there anyway. But a lot of people are like, oh, if they lose the MAC title game, they shouldn't go in there. Hello. They went undefeated the whole regular season. That should be something like rewarding. Just like I was talking to Chris Knoche today from Maryland. Navy won had a 7-game lead on the second place in the Patriot, loses on a buzzer beater at home in the playoff, and now they're going to the NIT. It's crazy. Like, they should be awarded an opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament with a 31-0 record.
Yeah, no, I hear you. College basketball scheduling is kind of like matchmaking and dating. It's very complicated. As I have a special hand in it. I've helped with scheduling for years now. I talk to teams in all 31 leagues. There's probably 7 or 8 different levels of college basketball when it comes to operating budgets, and that's how scheduling gets done. And I think when you look at Ohio State and Pitt, great examples. They're representative of the greater Power 5. Now, I'll give the exception to the Hall of Fame level and guys with great tenure, like Nate Oates, is elite scheduler at Alabama, never wants to play a bad game. He'll play anybody. Miami, Ohio could have got a game there if the dates worked out, but a lot of fans forget you got to have the dates. There's a lot of scheduling. Yeah. Not Bruce Pearl. Well, he used to, but now he's gone. But Tom Izzo, Bill Self, they'll play anybody, right? They're the exception. They're the exception, not the rule. The majority of the Power 5 jobs, whoever's sitting in them now, they're so scared of getting fired. So there's just no way they're talking to a team that could be good. Right. They're spending $100,000 on a game that has to be a win. And if they lose it, they're going to hear from their athletic director.
Jeez.
So it's just a complicated thing. Yeah, so that explains the Power 5 part of it. But I could tell you this, and Miami, Ohio is doing the right thing with Travis Steele coming out multiple times. He's come on our show on the Field of 68.
Yes, he has.
Said it a couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times. But there's teams they could have played, like St. Mary's, Memphis. That level of team would have played them because that helps those teams too. That's the right fit. I don't know how many of those teams Miami, Ohio said no to, but I talked to Travis a lot during the summer. I talked to Jonathan Holmes a lot in the summer. That he's actually in charge of the scheduling. Travis is the boss, so he has to sign off. But yeah, it's complicated, and it's a shame that we didn't get to see more. Right. The good news is we finally get a nice Christmas present, fair or unfair, whatever Miami, Ohio does in their first NCAA tournament game. If they lose by 30 or they win an amazing game, that's how they're forever going to be remembered.
Sure.
And that's not really fair to them because to them they only care about winning this MAC tournament right now. But that's just how the public works. And we get this fascinating Christmas present. We don't know what's going to be inside the box when they take the court on that first NCAA game. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool that they're the first team since Gonzaga. And Gonzaga has been in the mainstream of college basketball since they came out of nowhere back when I was a kid in college. I remember the first time seeing Gonzaga on a bracket, and we're like, who the heck is Gonzaga? And
now they're in there like 30 years in a row.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like the name of Duke. It's like Duke and NC State, Michigan State, and speaking of Michigan State, and I talked to Tom this a long time ago when they were down here in the Big Ten was down here in Baltimore, down in DC, and I said to him, like, Coach, you guys play good in November, you have a crappy December, January. Middle of February, you still stink. But by the time you get to the end of February, early March, something clicks, and you guys know how to play in March. Yeah. And you march down the field, and you march, and you get the you go. And he looks at me and goes, "Are you an alumni?" I'm like, "No, sir. I just been watching you since I was growing, watching basketball, and I'm impressed about you guys somehow turn that switch on when it comes to March 1st. It's like
it feels like that.
They could play like crap in December and January, and all of a sudden you're like, where do they come from? Crap.
Right.
Like seriously.
The greats.
Yeah,
the greats know how to manage the season. You have a long college basketball in any Division I college sport is the longest season. We start on the first Monday of November, and if you make it to the end, you're playing all the way into April, right? So you have to, if you're a national championship level program like Michigan State, for example, you have to manage it with all of that in mind. So you might make decisions in December and January thinking about the long run and managing, like you would in baseball with pitchers, right? You might take a guy out earlier in the season so you can have him at the end of the year. You're making decisions kind of like that if you have guys dinged up or, maybe hold them out a couple games. You're okay with a loss if it has to happen now. And that's what the greats do. We're lucky out here in the West to have Randy Bennett. And he's every year top 30, top 25, and he built that program with his bare hands. And we saw. I know they lost last night, but they lost to a really good Santa Clara team.
Sure did.
And the last week of the season when they had to have it, they destroyed Santa Clara and they destroyed Gonzaga by 11. To me, that's destroying them because Gonzaga is really hard to beat by double digits. So, I mean. He's got that formula too, and even at a lower level like Boise State, they always take a ton of losses around the turn of the calendar, and then usually they start playing well. And sure enough, here we go. Mountain West starts Thursday. Boise State's entering with a 5-game winning streak. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
I mean, it's like this, Rocco. I mean, it's like when you look at the brackets, you're gonna see Gonzaga, after what Coach Fee was done, and St. Mary's, and next year it's going to be weird since the Pac-12 is coming back, and it's like Gonzaga's going to be there. You got several teams from the Mountain West Conference that are going to be there. Texas State is going to be there, and it's like. It's not the same Pac-12 that me and you and Chris grew up with. I mean, it's like we cover the ACC here, and it's like it's still weird, to see Cal and Stanford in the ACC. But it's like, since you're out there, for the WCC final, it is Gonzaga versus Santa Clara. So we know how good the Zags are. So what does Santa Clara got to do tonight to pull off the upset like they did last night versus St. Mary's?
Well, I think what they need to do is, first of all, they have to protect the ball. I was at the game in the Levy Center where Santa Clara was at home, rocking environment. One of maybe the best crowd I've ever seen there. They've sold out against Gonzaga before, but this was a situation where everybody was in there like 2 hours before. And I've never walked in there because that's when I show up for the game, right?
Yeah.
I've never walked I'm used to walking into an empty building and then eventually people start trickling in. This place was rocking, and they had it going like 30. Go back and look at the box score. 30 minutes in, Santa Clara. They're basically trading baskets, but Santa Clara had a little bit of an edge. I think at one when Gonzaga really made their move, they were down 5, and part of it was 3 out of like 4 possessions. Santa Clara just threw the ball away. Tyon Grant Foster got into the passing lanes. They really struggled with Adam Miller. He was kind of an X factor in some Gonzaga games. Adam Miller doesn't even show up, so I thought that was interesting because it was more like Graham Ike has a huge edge in the paint in this matchup as well. He just destroyed them both times. The game in the Kennel, he almost had 40. This game in Santa Clara, there was close to 30. And then you have guys like Grant Foster and Miller, where they might, against other teams, like say if they were playing St. Mary's tonight, they might settle for catch and shoot opportunities. In this matchup, they're going to attack the rim. Just watch. They're going to attack the rim relentlessly. They're going to try to get Santa Clara into foul trouble. And that's where Santa Clara's gone a little haywire. Like when they got blown out at St. Mary's, Aboye only played 9 minutes because he had 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes, comes back in, gets a third. He barely played. So it took him out of the game. Then you got Alan Graves, your most important player for Santa Clara, and he ends up fouling out in that game. So they can't afford – that's where they got it right last night. They can't afford to foul out. You got to protect the ball. They do that. They're good enough to hang. They've proven that. And then, of course, you're going to have to make shots. Gavaluvev was unbelievable last night. And funny enough, the Gonzaga game, he was the one that killed him. He threw the ball away 3 different times. So I'm excited to see how he plays tonight with all that. He has to have so much confidence after icing the game last night, and he made at least 5 threes. So should be a thrilling final. And I think it's going to be a lot more aesthetically pleasing because we've seen Gonzaga St. Mary's for the title 4 straight years. And it's always a chess match, rock fight. Sometimes hard for the common fan to get fired up about. But I think tonight we should get a high-scoring game with a lot of great back and forth, great athletes. These 2 teams are going to look like a Power 5 game. It's going to be a great watch, even for people out there in the East Coast.
I will say this, Rocco. Since I followed you for a long time, it's if you ever come here to the North Carolina mountains, let me know because a barbecue dinner is courtesy of me.
Oh, I love that. Where are you guys exactly?
I'm in Baltimore, outside of Baltimore.
I'm near Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, Asheville! I love Asheville.
Yeah.
I would definitely see you in Asheville. I love Baltimore too, Chris.
No, I know.
So
Baltimore's
we got to
good
stay in
with the
touch,
crab
guys.
cakes.
Yeah, it's called. Thanks for
I love the crab cakes. That's the only thing we're good around here. Crab cakes and traffic.
You can always go to Ocean. You can always go to Ocean City in the summer. So you just hang out till the summer.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. Well, Rocco, I appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the game.
My pleasure.
During Vegas.
Thank you.
Touch. Okay.
Thanks, Rocco.
All right, man.
Yep. Let's do it again sometimes, guys. Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it.
I'll see you. Bye.
Enjoy Selection Sunday. That was awesome. I was like, I finally talked with Rocco.
We had that guy last year, Shelby, the guy we had missed on.
Yeah.
He retired from doing it because I guess he got tired of doing it.
Well, that's why we have Rocco.
Yeah, so we'll use Rocco we appreciate him joining us. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up here. We're a little behind our schedule.
I finally talked with Rocco Miller.
Yes.
I'm a happy camper now. Thank you.
Yeah, you are happy. You're welcome. I try to help your needs. I sit around going, what does Adam want me to do this week?
I was like, I didn't realize Shelby had retired. Now I was going to tell you, Chris, I was like, Rocco. It's called.
Well, I was doing. This is funny. I didn't ask you about it. I was doing research the other day, and some guy on YouTube had him on, and I'm like, some show, and I'm like, okay, let me go see what this guy looks like, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, all right, well, he has an email, so I was like, all right, let me email him, and I sent him an email, and he emailed me right back. And he goes, yeah, I'd love to do that, and I thought it was going to be over the phone because I told him let's do the phone because I thought that he was out there in. I forgot the game is 9 o'clock our time. It's
6 o'clock out in Vegas.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe he could come on, and I said by phone, and that's why I got myself all confused with Scott and everything else going on.
Yeah, at least we got Rocco on, and I'm happy.
We got him on. This guy will be joining us hopefully next week. Hopefully,
Larry Fedora
will hopefully join us next week here on the show. We'll talk to him about Was it like coaching at North Carolina? Because I know he took the Tar Heels to a ACC title game, and I remember interviewing him at the ACC championship game because I have a couple of my videos still up on the YouTube site, talking to him. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting guy. Hopefully we'll get him on and we'll see if what he's been doing since leaving college football. I know he went to Baylor for a couple of years and all that stuff. So before we go, we'll give you a score update. I think I have a score update here for the Hofstra.
I've got one.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
It's called, let's see here, update in the CAA tournament right now at halftime. It is Hofstra 35 and Monmouth 32. So if you want to watch the game on CBS Sports Network with a good friend Dave Ryan,
Speaking of Dave, he'll be joining us next Tuesday because I was trying to do something with him today, and he had all the shoot arounds and all that stuff. So I texted him back.
So I get this. Heck yeah!
And so I was like, "Well," I said, "Are you available next Tuesday?" He goes, "I'm open." so we'll talk to Dave Ryan next week about the CAA.
About the CAA, and I could talk. We could talk to him about the PBA tour since he'll be with Randy for all the stuff on CBS and the CBS Sports Network. So
right. Excellent. Yes, that's true. We'll talk to him about his take on if he's watching bowling, because I know he's been traveling across.
Knowing him, he probably is. He'll find a way to watch it.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people have negativity with Rick Allen.
I know, Chris.
Like his scoring issues. Does he need to Adam and Chris call up again? To help him with the with the scoring. What is he doing? Because I've been watching it from this good guy on YouTube.
I know who. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Amori, and he does his own commentary. He just puts the camera on the TV screen, and then like at commercials, he comes back over and goes, "Hey guys, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh God."
Okay.
Yeah, but it was not bad. Good for him. If you're the CW, you have bowling and you have NASCAR. Can you get your damn app fixed?
Thank you.
If you want to be like I
know.
Yeah. Next week we'll be on the show on St. Patty's Day.
So that means I can wear my green and not get pinched.
Yes, we'll get green. We'll wear green. We'll talk to Dave Ryan and Larry Fedora, and also Coach Tyner will come on as well.
Oh, nice! It's called I can ask Coach Tyner what he thought of your pitch.
He was such a nice. They were very very accommodating, very nice people. I know. It was. I want to know how fast it was because I don't think I threw a fastball. Yeah.
No, I mean, no, it didn't look fast at all, Chris.
No. We're gonna leave you tonight with a classic Neil Diamond song. This guy in New Jersey did his own top 10 from 1981. So this was on March 9th of 1981. He did it like a couple of years ago, and he said "Love on the Rocks" was the one of the songs. So I'm like, okay. So we'll play Neil. This is the version off of the Jazz Singer when he's actually putting it together in the studio.
Okay.
So we'll see you guys next Tuesday night at 7:30 because we'll have Larry Dora at 7:30 next Tuesday night. So we'll see you then.
Enjoy March Madness and enjoy Selection Sunday.
And we'll try to get some people, if we could get some of the local flavor from the NCAA tournament teams. We'll see what we could do.
That's right.
We'll see you all next Tuesday. Thanks for everybody for joining us.
Hey, everybody.
Your seventh chords in the bridge and take it real easy tempo. 3, 4.
Love on the rocks ain't no surprise. Just pour me a drink and I'll tell you some lies. Had nothing to lose, so you just sing the blues all the time. gave me your heart, you gave me your soul. Then you left me alone here with nothing to hold. Yesterday's gone, now all I want is a smile. Real strong here, please. First they say they want you, how they really need you. Suddenly you find you're out there, walking in a storm. And when they know they have you, then they really have you. Nothing you can do or say, you got to leave, just get away. We all know the song. Love on the rocks, it ain't no big surprise. Just pour me a drink and I'll tell you my lies. Yesterday's gone,